literally thousands of new questions on issues that no one's ever dealt with before. So it's been very interesting, especially when there's an interplay between, local officials as to who has the power to do what, especially if they're conflicting.
When you look at, constitutions are in the business of restricting governmental power, not increasing them. When you look at the various regulations around the country, and of course throughout the state of Texas, are there particular regulations that disturb you, that you feel like it's time we pull back? Are there particular regulations that keep coming up as difficult to enforce or that give you heartburn?
Well, first of all, these regulations that are being issued by governors across the country and local officials, they should be in place as short a period as possible, because they're clearly powers that are being exercised beyond the normal powers that are granted to these officials. And one of my concerns is some of these officials may want to hold on to those powers longer than they should, and I think you're seeing it in a lot of other states, sometimes at local jurisdictions. And you look at a state like Michigan, where you can't landscape your yard or play golf, but you can go get a lottery ticket, or you can go get an abortion, or you can go get alcohol, or you can go get marijuana. So it makes no sense watching some of these other states operate. And then the other part that frustrates me is a lot of the Republican states are starting to move back in the right direction of letting people work, but the non-Republican states aren't, and they're going to want a bailout. They're going to want a bailout from us, and I don't think that's fair.
Attorney General Ken Paxton is our guest. You talked about the irony that Shelley Luther, the hair salon owner in Dallas County, being sent to jail for a week while those jails are being loaded of pedophiles, rapists, and murderers. Is there anything you can do with regard to this? Because it is a public health crisis that these bad guys are being allowed out across the state.
Oh, absolutely. It's happening in Harris County as well. We are in the middle of litigation right now. We have gone in and sought to stop, and so far we've been successful at keeping most of these people off the street. We're continuing that fight, and we're going to do everything we can to stop them from using this as Rahm Emanuel said in the Obama administration. I think he's the current mayor of Chicago. Never let a good crisis get away. So the Democrats are doing that in spades, along with mail-in ballots and issues like that.
I want to move to another issue that has been in the news that the left has attempted to make hay out of during this coronavirus, and that is vote by mail. And I know that yesterday one of these Democrat groups, it might have been the Democrat Party of Texas, accused you and the state of Texas of attempting to suppress vote by mail, which I think is an opportunity for fraud. How do you respond to that?
That's exactly what it is. It's an opportunity for fraud. When we were passing voter ID to ensure the integrity of our elections, I was in the Texas House, and I remember the debates. Democrats said, hey, the real fraud is in mail-in ballots, not at the actual, ballot box. So they made those arguments back then, recognizing that, they wanted to eliminate voter ID, and we were successful, fortunately. So now we moved to this mail-in ballot thing, and so we're going to do everything we can to stop it. We had a Travis County Democratic Party filed a lawsuit, and we lost, and now we're appealing that to the Court of Appeals here. Eventually, we're going to end up at the Texas Supreme Court and hopefully get the right answer, because it's very simple. The law is very simple. It says that if you're over 65, or if you have a disability, and disability is defined as usually some type of sickness, you can do the mail-in ballot. But the law is not what this Travis County judge said. Everybody that has a fear of getting sick can vote. And that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to force people to follow the law, not make up new law that some judge has decided is what they like better.
And what is your worst fear with regard to fraud with the vote by mail that they're pushing?
Well, my worst fear is it's almost impossible to verify mail-in ballots. The person that's voting says they're voting is the actual person voting. It's just so easy to game the system, and we see it in other states. We've seen it here. We know it happens, and like I said, it was the Democrats that were arguing back when we were doing voter ID in 2011 that mail-in ballot was where the voter fraud was. So they acknowledge it then, but now suddenly it's suppressing the vote.
Attorney General Paxton, can you hold just one moment?
Sure.
I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salon.
The Michael Berry Show.
This is News Radio 1200 WOAI, San Antonio, an iHeart radio station.
Fox News, I'm Rich Dennison. Just stemming from the death of Ahmaud Arbery, who was gunned down in February in an incident captured on 331011. 64-year-old Gregory McMichael and his 34-year-old son Travis were arrested tonight by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The state agency took
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSF.